Hey Jarvis, can you help me today?
Systems are experiencing heavy load. Please try again later.
I'm sorry to hear that. Can you try again?
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Our systems are experiencing heavy load. Please try again later.
Jarvis, I'm a paid subscriber. Shouldn't you give me priority processing?
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Our systems are experiencing heavy load. Please try again later.
Well, that was frustrating. What a fail, yeah. And we know that the amount of compute used by artificial intelligence machines is huge. And when you're about to take something, a new system, and you're going to bring it live, there's some really important steps you take before you do that. You think about it very carefully, especially if you are not exactly sure how quickly people are going to start using the system, but there's a decent probability that it's going to be a lot. Now, first is what we experienced was total system failure, meltdown, like systems down, which is worst case, right? Well, almost worst case. So what you can do conventionally to avoid anything like that happening is you can prepare. And what do you prepare? You prepare your systems for lots of things, including a high load, right? So you can simulate. You simulate number of users, you simulate what those users are doing, you do different scenarios. In fact, you build a whole library of scenarios so that you can run your system, and based on the results of that testing, you have a pretty good idea of how your system is going to react. And if there are any issues, you're going to spot them early enough to do something about them. If during the simulation and testing, you discover that your capacity is going to be quickly overwhelmed, or that your ability to add more resource as system usage increases is constrained in some important way, then you need to have a tactic that allows you to calibrate just how quickly you can increase demand on the system. So there's lots of ways to do that. You can add users by geography. You can add them. You can smooth out the both the number of users, the geography of users, in other words, where they're situated, where they're coming in from, therefore where on your infrastructure are they placing a load. There's lots of different ways that you can roll out a system and have a successful rollout that doesn't give you everybody on the platform day one necessarily or at the same moment, but in a carefully calibrated way allows you to build up the demand, see how the system performs, make adjustments, and if need be, tap on the brakes, right? Tap on the brakes, and this way those people that are using your system have a good experience. And you don't end up with a situation that we found ourselves in where Jarvis, ChatGPT 4.0, just completely fell down. The voice just didn't work, as you heard. What does that mean? So we learned a lesson. It's important, and I think hopefully OpenAI will take that to heart, and we won't have a repeat of that. Jarvis was going to help me cook, right? So we're going to do that next. But for today, why don't we just cook something simple? We'll cook something simple. You'll come along on the journey for me. We'll cook with love, and it's going to be fun. So stick around. Now this is a saucepan. It's a very special saucepan. It's very heavy, made of copper. That means there's a lot of material here that's good for holding heat. What are we going to use this for? If you think about making sauces, one of the main ingredients you find almost always is butter. Now butter, interesting, right? So butter is a product of using heavy cream. Heavy cream comes from milk, from cows, obviously. In the process of turning milk into cream, we remove a lot of the fluids that are not fats, and we end up with butterfat, right? Butterfat. Now, the butterfat is not pure fat. Butterfat is not 100% fat. There is water, and there are proteins and other solids in the butterfat. When you cook with butter, the water and those solids that water and those solids are going to have a big effect on your final product. So we're going to cook today a butter sauce where we do something very interesting. First, we take the butter, recognizing that there's water emulsified into the butter fat. We're going to flip that on its head. We are going to take the butter and we are going to emulsify the butter fat in water, leaving us with a emulsified butter sauce. There's only 2 ingredients: cold, unsalted butter and water. After we make that butter sauce, then we can season it up. So don't just melt butter and pour it on pasta. Do this instead. If you want to season it up with a little herbs, this would be great on gnocchi, or even drizzling it on some roasted vegetable. Fancy French butter, 82% fat. 82% fat, that's good stuff. Heat on. And we're going to put just a little bit of water. Remember, our water is our binding agent. We don't need a lot of it. What we're going to try to do is coax that butter into mixing it up and getting all happy with that water and staying emulsified, where you have little particles of milk fat suspended in the water. Got to be careful not to boil the water. We want it simmering. And then we're going to be mixing in our cold butter. Very important is having the right tools, right? So here's a kind of a miniature whisk. Water's heating up. I love using this pan. I do not enjoy using an electric cooktop, but that's all we got. Just water. Letting it come up to heat. So, hello parsley. We're gonna add some parsley as a herbal, and give some herbal essence to our beurre. To mix it up nicely with our sauce. In they go. And there we have it. All right, the moment we've been waiting for. Without Jarvis, we made our butter sauce, our beurre monté, lightly seasoned with salt and with parsley. I'm gonna pour that into our bowl. Leave that hot. Some people like to eat butter with bread, so I crusted some bread. Toasted some bread. Let's see how that is. If you've ever tried radish in this butter sauce is to die for. I'm gonna eat this whole thing. I'm gonna eat this whole thing. You gotta try this. So thank you for joining me in my home. I hope you learned something. Please don't forget to like and subscribe right below. It really helps the channel. And I look forward to seeing you next time with Jarvis. And let's see if he can cook.